All right, everybody, away we go. Welcome to today's call. It is Friday, Laura's favorite day of the week.
No,
It is,
it's not. I have 2 days with my kids.
Yeah, that's good. That was good. March 22nd of 2019, and this is the Realty Classroom sales training call. Always one of our favorites to do because this is where the rubber meets the road, and you are direct with consumer on the phone, or you are direct with consumer in the field. But we thought today that when we started off a little bit here, what we would do is we would deal a little bit more with what's going on with us in our team, because we have added somebody here recently. Autumn has joined us, and we've made a distinction about that telemarketer, which is the real firm word that I want to use here, because I think in the past we haven't used that word. We've used inside sales agent. I think even in the ad, we use prospector. So we've used a lot, but what I'm going to say to you is that I think that word telemarketer that Autumn calls herself is a really important term. And the reason why you wanted to jump on with me here today and start discussing this was because you said just now, before we started, that you've never heard anybody really like her. That in all of the recordings, whether it be the people that, we have in this group or anybody else for that matter, you've never really heard somebody talk the way that she talks on the phone. And so I think we have to deal with that. It's important to deal with that and to share that with people and say, look, when you hear Laura, who's been an inside sales agent, sales administrator, telemarketer, we've changed the name so many times. I think when it comes to relationship conversion modules, that's where things get confused. Is that I think everybody sort of misunderstands a lot of that. But you have to remember, in a conversion module, what we're talking about, sales is part of that, right? The sales training for the lead to prospect, where you make that offer on the phone or face-to-face. Then the long-term follow-up of prospect to client. And then especially what we're learning with client management on listings. There's a lot of different types of jobs in conversion management. And the burden for most real estate agents is it falls upon them to do it all. And that's a lot. And as we look at it now, knowing what we know about running it as a company, I think the thing that you and I probably share is, oh my gosh, this is a very different skill set at each different level. Right? Really, you can look at this and say, well, you need somebody that's sales oriented in your conversion module, moving people lead to prospect to client. But my goodness, have we learned, you sitting there with client care and hottest of prospects as they get referred to me and that sort of thing, left us a big gaping hole back there, which quite frankly, come on, let's admit it, you didn't want to go do it.
I was just really tired of doing it, honestly. I'll be honest.
But also, in my opinion, as I look back, I think about people that we've hired for telemarketing that were more oriented towards that piece, whereas you were more oriented to clients and very ready to go prospects, where your high level of skill is that very, in the moment client service, whereas telemarketers are a whole different breed. When I look back, I think what Autumn made me recognize in this whole process that we've gone through is that when we called out to a pure telemarketer with a very correct type of ad, a different person showed up. Is that fair?
Sure.
All right. So definitely. You tell them in the opening here, what are your thoughts? Why was this important for you to get on here and share this today? What are you thinking about this whole process? What did you want to say?
Well, it's still very new, and like Autumn has really amazed me and how much she's grasped the concept and, gets what she's supposed to say on the phone very fast, because she's had so much experience. Right. And she already sounds like she's been doing it for so long, and she has zero real estate experience or even a license at this point. So it really dawned on me, like, all the recorded calls we've heard over the years, even me making the phone calls and, past inside sales agents we've had, none of them have sounded as good as her, only within a week and a half time frame.
Right.
So it really screamed as like a red flag to me that how desperately important it is to get the right person for that specific job. Because I think so many of us have been trying to put a square in a round hole.
Yeah.
And and then we're not getting the results we want. And then we get frustrated. And then we're like, where are my prospects? Where are my appointments? And it may not be the person's fault. We just may have hired the wrong person.
Yeah, the wrong person for the right job.
Yeah.
So going to pragmatically speaking, though, I mean, because we're talking about a week's worth of work.
Yeah.
What did you notice immediately? What did you see? What did you see? I mean, give them as many specifics as what just happened in this 1 week. And unfortunately, a weekend,
I know.
She's got a head cold and she's sick. And
Yeah.
so she lost some momentum. But I'm looking at her desk over here, perfectly organized, notes already.
Yeah.
I think it's, again, we should say, she says 40 years worth of experience, telemarketing.
Yeah.
She's the one that brought us that information. So what I'm saying is that she brings in this skill set.
Mm-hmm.
So let's make it clear that this is no rookie to telemarketing at all. This is a seasoned veteran over a long period of time. She sold rare coins over the phone.
Yep.
Which I know boggles our minds, right?
Yeah.
That's like impossible.
Investments.
Yeah, keep coming.
She did work in a real estate company capacity years ago in California. So she has had some like past experience with that, avenue. And people have honestly begged her to get her real estate license in the past, and she was never comfortable, but she's like, I'm getting it this summer. Like she is so excited to be here.
Yeah.
She is thrilled, like beyond belief.
Yeah.
Like, and she's in her backyard, close on Cape.
Why does somebody with that skill set that came to us already built in? Why is this such a good fit for a telemarketer to do? I think everybody needs to hear this. And again, remember, we're training and teaching people that have to do this themselves amongst everything else. So we want to glean from that, we don't want to intimidate them and say, oh my gosh, I can't afford it, I never do it. I think what we want to pull from her, what are the basics that you're noticing that are effective? Because what I want you to do is tell them what you told me, that there's been this movement towards you having to send packages out inside of a week. Tell them what that means, and tell me, because I didn't really follow up with you.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Does that mean people we've already sent something to? Are these new people? What's happening? What she's saying? What can you share with everybody today that they could do in a telemarketing capacity? What is that skill set? Presuming somebody can't go out and hire an Autumn.
You mean the skill set that she has?
Yeah, what is she saying? Like, if you were to steal from her skill set, some things you see as someone who doesn't want to make those calls anymore and was never truly saying, oh, I love making them, right? But she does.
She loves it.
Right, she does.
She's a high eye, so she's a talker. So she loves people, and she's very polite but very firm. The biggest thing that I take away from every phone call that she makes is that she is the authority on the phone.
Interesting.
And it doesn't matter if she's talking to a high D, because I know she's encountered them.
Yeah.
So, but she still wears the pants in it.
Yeah.
And she still can get in her words. And there's a complete art form to what she does. And we'll get her on this call next week, because she's jonesing. Like, she loves this.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a complete art form in what she does. And she's a good listener. So she, and it's just a matter of, okay, Autumn, that was good. Because it's literally like on-demand training. Yeah. She makes a call, she reaches someone, she tells me how it is immediately, and I go, okay, that was great. Now, next time you talk to this person, add this, say that. Yeah. So we're able to make very swift adjustments. She has talked to a lot of older expireds that never relisted. So we're kind of resending the gift, finding out their timing and motivation. So I believe we've sent out a total of 10 packages since she's, in
a week. Everybody hear that?
Yeah.
So to go back in this case, in the context where we're starting hers with expireds, people that haven't relisted, I've said this to you all hundreds of times, people just disappear on people, and they don't come in here, and they don't keep going. And so there's all sorts of people who haven't done anything, and nobody's educating them. It's this vacuum.
And at this point, they're not getting flooded with phone calls from realtors.
Yeah.
No one's calling them. They've been expired for 6+ months.
Yeah.
And we have the biggest opportunity, put the gifts in their hands, keep following up, add them to sold updates. Like, there's going to be no competition with those. I mean, there has been newer expireds, that some of them she hasn't reached, some of them, they have a committed relationship with their current agent. So, but it's good. We're sifting, we're sorting, we're deleting,
there's action, there's movement, there's conversations.
Movement.
Well, there's conversations, right?
Yeah.
I just finished a webinar that I do every year for Mike Cerrone on his Agent Success Summit, and the highlight there, which Lee and I in the work together with his business, that's where that big epiphany. This is all about conversations that are quality, that determine if there is an opportunity. If there's an opportunity, an offer of upgraded free service is given so that relationship can continually be built. That's supplemented by the drip out of the plan or just the sending of the plan. So see, what everybody should be listening to here is that what Laura just said is like, look, we have sent this thing out and this thing's gone out the door again. It's a plan. The upgrade of, this updated property update is going. And so people are listening and they're saying, sure. Like she's not getting rejected 10 times in a week.
Exactly.
Right. But I want to go back before we both get excited. 'Cause I want to get to a couple of calls. Grant Van Dyke, I'm hoping you're on here. I'll check in a second because he sent me some calls we want to go over. But I think let's go back to she's authoritative. Regardless of who's on the phone. Let me just fix this Facebook thing. She's authoritative regardless of who she's on the phone with. I want you to pick that up. Don't be a shrinking violet. You or your telemarketers are the people picking up the phone and they're grabbing people by the lapel and saying, look, we know your situation. Look, we have this thing that's helpful to you. Look, we're sending that no matter what you say. So here we are. Let's have a conversation. You have to own that.
And she owns it.
True telemarketing owns that moment in time where you're not trying to put them in a headlock to force them to do something. Their timing's not there. Understand what the offer was. We're going to resend the package to you. That's it. But we're going to upgrade the continuity information coming to you where these sold properties are microly important to you. So things that are in the price range you tried to get are going to be in your email so that you're not getting caught flat-footed. Don't dare come back on authoritatively, he said. Don't dare come back on the market the same way you started last time. Come back on informed and let us be the ones that inform you. And there's almost zero competition.
Yeah.
Almost.
It's
right. I'll say almost because there's always.
And there is, some frustrated people, which is good. That's kind of what we want.
You want that. You want a problem to solve.
Yep. And there's actually a couple conversations that she had that she ended up calling the person back right immediately after I made some suggestions with no problem at all. Like called them right back.
Not even thinking about it.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, that's great. I need to call her right back.
And they weren't mad.
No.
Right. They weren't mad because it's just like, again, it's this intensity of purpose that just says eat deep in your soul. I have an answer for you. Right. So I love it. All right. Let's open this up. Anybody wants to ask questions about that, go right ahead. And then while you're doing that, of Laura and our just, I guess our new start with, it's too bad Autumn's not here. She's so enthusiastic. But we will be getting to, get recordings too, so that you can hear both sides of the conversation, which will be very important for you. We just had to get a headset that was compatible with our ability to record them and for training purposes. And we will we'll share and you'll be able to hear it live. But let's get into this here and see if we have any questions. Go ahead. Any questions for Laura as she manages this situation with telemarketing? Any thoughts as you listen to that?
This is Doug.
Hey, Dougie. Go ahead, bud.
Yeah, one of the things that I run into in telemarketing is, I see a lot of people who are just dissatisfied with communication with their agents. And I'm curious how you guys address that.
They're dissatisfied with their agents? You want to take that first, and then I'll take it?
Yeah, so if I'm calling expireds, I feel like the number one thing I get from almost every person I talk to is a lack of communication from their agents.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, my immediate response would be, we completely understand, and that's why it's on one of our 7-step plan. Like, communication is its own step.
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's that important.
Yeah.
I think empathy in that context is huge, because it really is kind of an epidemic in real estate. Agents, for some reason, are not the best communicators with their clients, which is astounding, really.
Yeah. Well, Doug, let's just say this. The reason for a plan is exactly that. You can't, look, the reason buyers and sellers are failing as they go to try to get what they want is not the lack of somebody willing to help them. It's the lack of that person, their inability to provide a plan and a guidance. Look, you're a Sherpa taking somebody up the largest financial and emotional transaction they make. It's their Everest in that moment in time. And so it's not even the lack of communication. That's a byproduct of the lack of a plan. So if you don't present to this buyer or seller a plan, then you've lost that authoritative leadership position right from the start. And so I think if you're asking, how would I deal with that? How would Laura deal with that? I think in Autumn, I think she's already gotten it in a week. She took copious notes the last time we did sales training and was pounding away at the word plan.
Yeah,
She just latched onto it like a pit bull. And it was all about, but we have a plan. And we want to give it to you. We'll give you the wireframe for it. We want to talk to you about it. We want to go through it. And look, it's communication is the entirety of the process, including right now talking to you, helping you figure out what went wrong. Right? Hey guys, there are live mics there. Okay. So if you just lean in right from the minute, say, yes, we see that's a pandemic in the industry. So what we've done to solve it is we make ourselves be well planned out, and in turn we share that with you, right? So I think, Doug, you always have to recognize that these problems, and look, because you have a plan, Doug, because you know 7 steps in order, which are nothing more than the universal steps that any property gets sold, but it is the fact that you've actually organized them and can discuss each in its singularity or them as a whole. That's the introduction of the difference between you and what they've experienced. And we're not trying to hurt any other agents, right? We'd love to share that knowledge with anybody so the industry improves. But ultimately, you're the one in the catbird seat right there coming in saying, I get it. That is a problem. Quite frankly, Doug, go around the pinwheel. There could be any of the problems. I got no advice on pricing it right. Nobody had a formula or a plan for that. Nobody told me that I could do low to no cost projects, including deep cleaning inside and out, landscaper and professional cleaner. Nobody told me that. Nobody told me to take down my pictures, move my own furniture out. Nobody suggested. I mean, you're going to be shocked, Doug, how little people do it. And even if they do drop in on one thing, let's say you have an agent who's a great stager, and that's what they do also. And they come in and they talk all about staging. Well, that's fabulous. But what about talking about pricing it right? And how reconditioning first and then staging sets you up for that moment of marketing. So immediately lean into the problem, acknowledge it is a problem, and communication's a pandemic, but plan is a bigger one, and that's your introduction of your solution. Say, I get it. It's a problem because it starts with a plan. So what I've done, actually, I've already mailed you out the wireframe for what to do. You can do it without me. It's assuming the agent's, your sister. Take the plan. It's free. It's a wireframe, and you send it out to them. Now you actually have given the gift of what they never had. I'm communicating with you that there is a plan and that you need to follow that plan. Okay? And that's how this works. So I think that's the easiest, solution to give them is just to communicate immediately. And that's a live demonstration of your differentiation. That's a live demonstration of your unique selling proposition. Right? Yeah. That you actually have a plan and you're communicating it. There's your demonstration that you're doing a better job than what they experience. Make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just amazed. I look at this. I just got off the phone with a guy 15 minutes ago who had a listing up for 4 months, and the agent never called him once, and he called the agent twice in 2 months. He had to do it, and all she wanted to do was get off the phone with him. And I'm just like, how do you operate a business that way? I don't get it.
Well, you don't. But you don't. But that's the pandemic. And I just finished this, and I'll say it to everybody even in our mastermind group, I am actually surprised at how many agents shy away from tough, difficult communication. And a lot of them create that environment themselves from day one, especially in the listing side. Because when you take a listing, there's this, and we feel it, there's an enormous pressure to perform, especially if it's expired before. So what we find the irony is, it is our intense communication with somebody that has expired, we're going through it right now, about the most difficult things to talk about, which has to do with price. See, the problem is when a lot of listings are taken, there's no pricing mechanism and discussion. It's taken typically at what the seller wants. Somebody says that their brand is going to sell the property, and immediately, when it doesn't happen the first couple of weeks, 30 days, agents panic and they turtle. And when you get the conversation, it's just they're panicked. So Doug, you're not a guy to panic at all, naturally, but that's what's happening. So that's the opportunity that abounds to go right in and say, look, here are some of the things we see all the time. A listing is taken, a promise is made that can't be fulfilled because it was only one part of the process. See, most agencies that take listings are going to make this offer that look, we have international exposure in buyers, right? Or, our company's the biggest one, thereby we'll sell it. Well, even the biggest companies on Cape Cod that have hundreds of agents, they tend to the law of averages, where that's not the way it works. They're only selling 12, 13% of their own listings, even when they're huge, right? So I think, Doug, that goes back to your other question about that other, the other problem when somebody leans back in on you and says, well, why don't you just bring me a buyer? Well, you had a great retort for that too. You hit them with the logic hammer and say, well, that's not the way it works. If out of the 3,000 plus listings in the Cape Cod MLS, I happen to be working with a buyer who happened to match up with yours, I would have already taken them there. I would have already brought them there. But what you're talking about is the other side of the business, the listing agency side, and I have a plan for that, right? My job is to make a market for your property where multiple buyers come in, and we can get the house sold 88% of the time with another brokerage, right? So I think it's that whole logic of the moment. I heard Gary Vaynerchuk on a video the other day, really liked it, that I want to share with you, is that what he said was that it's almost like he's obsessed with getting critiqued or having something go wrong, right? He's obsessed with it because it makes him lean into the situation and be the solution. And he just keeps getting better and better. That's why I think picking up the phone and calling expireds where there's been a problem, including the seller's motivation. How would you deal with that? Right? Would you pick up the phone and would you speak with authority and saying, hey, by the way, I'm hearing a lot of things that went wrong. Just a quick question for you. On a scale of 1 to 10, how motivated are you really to sell this property? Because ultimately, that's what it takes. It takes motivation to listen to an agent who can perform leadership, has a plan, and pull you by the nostrils if that's what it takes to get you what you want, which is sold, right? And that's why I think all these issues exist, Doug.
Well, yeah, and it's an interesting dichotomy because in one hand, the guy's 69 years old. He tells me he's not in any rush to sell it.
Yeah.
He wants to, he's not on a time frame. But then, literally 2 minutes later, he tells me that his health is suspect right now, and he's trying to move closer to his son, who lives in Charlotte, who's a builder, and his son calls him every week. When did you sell the house? Did you sell the house? So I sit there and I laugh, like, okay, I see what's happening here,
Yeah.
and I think I can help him.
Yeah. Well, you can.
He obviously wants to move.
Yeah,
His days are numbered.
Yeah, I think what you do is you start backing somebody into their own reality. I was going to say back them into a corner, but back them into their own reality. And I think that's a big thing here, especially in telemarketing situations on the phone. It's this reiteration of why you're doing this to begin with. Sounds like a good house. Do you have to sell it? And a lot of people cringe when they hear that advice because they're saying, well, aren't I scaring away the business? No, you're being a realist. Yeah. And by the way, you don't want to just take a listing for the sake of a listing, because now you've got some lunatic who has zero intention of selling and you're wasting a colossal amount of your time. So I think what matters is that you really need to get yourself in a situation where you're determining in telemarketing, why are you doing this? And on a scale of 1 to 10, tell me about your motivation. Why isn't it higher? Why'd you try it at all if you weren't like a 10? What am I missing here? And that's authoritative. And you can do that with all different tonalities, but I think you have to lean in. All right, Grant Van Dyke, you there, bud?
I am here.
Okay, buddy, I have 3 calls from you that you sent me that we promised to go over today. So I have 1, 2, and 3. Which one you'd like me to start with?
Well, let's take it from the top. And we don't have to do all 3. I just said, hey, here's 3 to pick from. But let's take the first one.
Okay, here we go.
Hello.
Hello, this is Grant Van Dyke. Hi there.
Who's that?
This is Grant Van Dyke with Remax in Cave Creek, Arizona.
Yeah.
I'm calling. Are you the homeowner of 5727 Canyon Ridge?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I am calling just a public service announcement to see, everybody who was listed and didn't sell last year, if there's some interest in getting their home sold this coming year. We're with Remax in Cave Creek. Yes, sir.
You are realtor, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what you want me to give you a listing house?
Yes.
I don't want you to give it to me. I want to earn it. We're with Remax. We have a fantastic listing program. We put it on the internet. We push it out there to the public, and we sell homes.
Are you in Cave Creek, your office?
Yes. Well, hold on now. I live in Cave Creek off Schoolhouse Road. I'm right there. Our office is down on Scottsdale Road and Frank Lloyd Wright. But I'm in Cave Creek all the time.
Yeah, but
and I'm very familiar with Canyon Ridge.
Yeah, okay. So could you a little bit research and see how much you think that's worth?
You want me to do some numbers for you and see how much you're worth?
Yeah. So you have my address, right?
I sure do. 5727.
Yeah. I go give you my email. So give me your information and tell me how much you think worth. But don't tell me, oh, you can get it so much money, and then I don't get it. So just listing, and then after month 2 or 3, say, oh, you know what, look like you need to cut down. I want you to tell me what you think, how much.
Absolutely, sir. Yep.
Yeah, not because I know how realtor people are doing. Okay, so they say, oh, you can get it $2 million, and then maybe you can get $1,100,000. I don't like that. So I wanted you tell me straight. And so, okay, my email is still at Tom.
Yep, I'm ready.
C like Tom, A like Apple, J like Joseph, N like Nancy, A like Apple, 99 at yahoo.com.
Okay.
Can you repeat for me?
I have T Tom, A Apple, J Janice, N Nancy, A Apple, 99 at Yahoo.
Yeah,
.com. Yes, sir. Now, I'll put some numbers together and email that to you. It would be super beneficial. I mean, I'll be up there later on today or even maybe Monday this coming week to pop in, just to take a quick look to see what you have. That would help really shape a true, accurate number.
Yeah, you cannot look inside, only from outside because I have tenants inside.
Gotcha. So just from outside. Well, I'll come up there and I'll just drive the neighborhood that I got the gate code.
No, I think you can cut it out gate. I don't think so. We don't have any gate code.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, would I be able to come up this Monday maybe and drive by?
Up to you, but like I said, I have tenants, so I don't like to go in here. Be scared.
Understood.
Yeah.
That's right. And what's your name, sir?
My name is Ned. N-E-D.
Ned. Okay, Ned. Ned,
thank
you very much.
How you got my phone number?
I got your phone number. It's public information. The realtors and different sales folks, auto dealers, and the like. There's a list of numbers, and we're just here as a public service to call those numbers and help people out.
Awesome. Okay, so just let me know, and then you go from there.
You got it, Ned. Thank you so much for your time. This is the best number to get a hold of you at?
All right. So tell me, when you listen to it, what would you do differently? What adjustments would you make?
This is an interesting one because they canceled so long ago and we didn't mail anything out to them. But
I've kind of positioned my brain where I would just call up and give I'd make the same offer to anybody. Hey, we mailed you our package, our strategic plan for selling properties. Did you receive it? I'd kind of go right there.
Okay.
So that's my initial thought. Then I got to thinking about how to answer the question, where'd you get my number? I mean, I'm almost embarrassed that I threw out the, auto dealers have it and all this kind of stuff. So I positioned it a little bit differently about how we got a number. And then this was a challenging call, but just because I guess I kept talking over him a little bit. There was some awkward pauses, so I have to work on my timing.
Yeah. Laura, what would you do differently?
Yeah, I think the main thing would be like not interrupting, which you've already mentioned. I mean, overall, I think in general, it was a good call. I'm unsure about the line of it being a public service. I don't even think you need to go there. It's just, it makes it less about them. It's just kind of like a random interject that I don't think necessarily is needed.
Yeah, here's what I would say. Here's what I heard. You're right.
Agreed.
You talked over him at a very critical point where he was having a cathartic moment and you were his therapist and you just were cutting him off. And ironically, how crazy is it that we have these frequently stated objections or frustrations that we talk about on this call, and he was stating one of them. The realtor just said they could get me this and then they couldn't get it. I just said that's one of the pandemic problems on the listing side of the business and why so many people don't do well on the listing side. They walk in, you would all call it, they buy the listing by yesing somebody to death. And so somebody gets excited and says, that sounds great to me. I'd take that. I'm motivated to tend to sell at that, only to call back within months. By the way, shame on my local association for letting somebody back a couple years ago, coach and train that told agents to do that. Just get the listing, tie it up, and then get the price reductions. I mean, heinous advice. It screws up the entire mechanism of the marketplace when that's actually being taught. Okay. I do.
Can you repeat that, Danny?
Yes. I'll say this. In my own MLS, I heard back a couple of years ago, because one of my agents went for training, that somebody was actually teaching to just take the listing at whatever price and lock it up for as long as you could, because eventually they'll price reduce. It is one of the single largest problems in this industry. If that's as good as the teaching can get, no wonder why we have this problem all the time. You cannot go in there and patronize a seller about pricing. You must do some studying about how to get closer to the range. Look, Zillow exists in this industry because they, at least with their huge disparity on their online guesstimate, they guesstimate plus or minus 20%. They could be off at the long tail. And now they're obsessing. Eric tells me they have 100 people working on just trying to bring it in with 5%. Well, come on. When a house sells in most of your marketplaces, it's within 3% of the final asking price. You're already doing better than an online algorithm could ever do. It's just a matter of how close can you start to the sweet spot without having to have this massive problem with price reductions. Most of our higher end listings that Laura and I take, 750 and above, absolutely have to have price reductions because the marketplace for it is thin. So the traffic is thin. And we tell people right up front, look, the math is reasonable here, but it doesn't mean the market will bear it. So when we do all of our push marketing, we are coming back to talk to you about this. We say that before we ever get the listing.
Yeah,
right?
You got to prepare them for reality.
You have to prepare them for how this really works.
I really appreciate that guy was like a straight shooter.
He was a straight shooter.
He wanted the number, not the fluffy number.
Yeah, that's right. And he just cut to the chase. And he says, okay, you're a realtor. You're in Cave Creek? Sure. What's the real number? And so what you should have done is just leaned in on that a little bit more. Say, I hear you. I hear you. You did not acknowledge his pain. So for me, that was like, I mean, you didn't have to go looking for his pain. He stated it to you clearly and say, I get it. I've seen that a lot. People make a promise on pricing. I actually have a pricing it right mechanism. Now, the only way I'm really going to know is if I can see inside the house. Do you live there? You never asked him that. Right? Grant?
Well, I didn't have to. It was tenant occupied. He told me that.
Okay. All right. I didn't hear him say that. Can I? Okay.
Yep.
It's tenant occupied. Can the tenants let me in? Because
Okay, I could have done it. Yep.
Because the way that I'm going to give you the most accurate opinion of value is to get inside and outside the property and compare it to the math I have. So I know what your pain is. Somebody gave you a cloudy number and it didn't happen. The only real way I'm going to be able to narrow the number is if I can get inside of it. I'll come close from the outside, but then you're going to have to help me. Is it a good average, condition? And you can look online at the expired listing, Grant, and you'd be able to tell. But there'd be nothing better than getting in. You never asked for that, right? So I think you were excited to get him. I think he was difficult to understand. You did a good job. But I mean, the glaring thing to me was you got what you wanted. Pricing, take it, you took it. But like, kick the door down when you really got there and he had some patience for you. I think you lost your patience. I think you were just sort of like, okay, I'll go up there. I have the gate code. And then there was confusion. What gate code? What are you talking about? He seemed confused.
Yep.
So I would tighten that.
Danny?
Yeah, go ahead.
So just a quick question. After listening to that, I'm curious if you should have pushed for an appointment.
Well, I'm agreeing with you. That's what I'm saying. Okay.
Okay.
The guy doesn't live there. The guy doesn't live there. Where does he live? Can he meet you there? Can the tenants get him in? So I do believe he basically got the drive-by or the drive-up appointment. I think he just needed to refine it. So yes, Doug, I agree with you. I that's what my critique is. Why not try to solidify that a little bit better? Agree. All right, Grant, let's keep rolling through these. Go ahead. Come on.
No, I was going to say, because now his outlet is to send him an email and then call him again, right? I mean, what else can he do?
Yeah.
And that's what we did. We put the numbers together for him. We followed up with a phone call. He's in San Francisco, Bay Area, so we gave him the numbers, the range that he could be in.
Yeah.
On his home, and I said this is the range, and he said, well, I don't like the range, so we're going to hold off. We're not going to sell right now. When the tenant moves out, we'll know better.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Cool. All right. Let's go to the next one. Okay.
Sure.
Here we go.
Hello.
Hello, this is Grant calling. Is this Alex?
Yes, it is.
Alex, again, it's Grant Van Dyke. I'm with Remax here in Scottsdale.
Okay.
And I'm calling because I saw that you had a home there on 96 Way that went off the market as an expired.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not sure if you took it off the market intentionally or if it didn't expire, but I wanted to let you know we mailed out some information to you, a strategic selling plan and a 3-point strategy. Just wanted to follow up to see if you received that.
I'm not sure. I received it from 450 other realtors.
I know there's a lot.
I got about.
I think
I'm looking to sell the home, but I don't want an agent. I'm doing for sale by owner.
Okay.
So I know that the buyer's agent is who sells the house. So
Yep.
I'm selling my home, and I'm going to sell it as the seller, and then let the buyer's agent buy the house.
Gotcha. Let me ask you this, Alex. Have you ever heard of? Would you ever consider? There's an option where an agent can list it, but you also have the opportunity to sell it at the same time, so you wouldn't owe a commission.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but no.
Okay.
It's just the second I found out I've sold 11 houses already by just putting them on MLS myself.
Mm-hmm.
So and I sell them again to the buyer's agent.
Yeah.
So it's just once I figured out that for $400 I could put something on MLS myself, I unfortunately stopped paying $30,000 to $40,000 for somebody to go on MLS and list the house for me.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm being honest with you.
No, and that's fair. That is fair. I mean, a property like yours at $1.25 million, it does take. Yeah, MLS is one option or one avenue. but you need a little kind of like push marketing or an agent or an advocate to
Well,
get
you know
the
what?
word
I
out
had
there.
three offers.
So
I
what
took one. Unfortunately, the woman's home, her home didn't sell, didn't close.
Mhm.
So she wasn't able to close on mine.
So there's the very problem right there that your agent should have been able to take care of. They should have been able to go over to the other place and help quick sale it or do something, right? So you see right off the bat
Yep.
in this call, this cat's hit a couple of points. Great job bringing up sell it yourself. He steamrolled you on the next one. But the next thing is, well, wait a minute. Didn't you just list with an agent?
Yeah.
See, like I'm confused. So you just listed with an agent and you got offers with that agent. Is that right or wrong? Did you know that?
That's right.
No, but I'm asking you before I continue the call. Did you know that?
When you're on these calls, it happens kind of quick. I didn't know it at the time, but he wasn't expired, so he did come off MLS and he did list. I did research on it. He listed with one of a flat fee company.
Okay.
$800 gets him on MLS.
Okay. All right. Stop. So you listed with a flat fee company, and you couldn't get a deal done. You know why? Because you had no way to go resolve that lady's sale. Jam it right down his throat. Say, here you are, expert. You got somebody with a house to sell in $1.25. That's pretty regular occurrence. So you had nobody to subsequently go help them the proper way so that you could get yours done. There's one example of where you can't do this yourself, right? Let's keep going.
Yeah.
No, I sold my home. I mean, I had three really good offers.
Nice.
I didn't have any problem selling it.
No, you didn't
It
sell
was
it.
just her buyer.
You didn't sell it.
Didn't qualify, so she ended up having it back out. And by then, I was already like, you know what? I'm just gonna wait till summer. It was just timing. I mean, if I put my house back on the market, I'll sell it. I just haven't had the time.
Gotcha.
It's my personal home, so it's not.
I don't have the time. That's why you have a realtor. But again, I don't like these guys myself. I don't like these guys. This is a FISBO. This is a glorified FISBO. This is why at least my immediate team will never spend time with them unless she wants to go after luxury ones, right? After she's done everything else. This guy is a know-it-all, and he's not even listening to all the mistakes he made. And now he doesn't have the time. Like, dude, that's the value in a good realtor. Number one, to solve the problems. You didn't sell it. So stop keep saying, I sold it. No, you didn't. You didn't.
Well,
That's why
he wanted to blame the buyers.
Yeah, here we go. Let's keep going.
I'm not in a huge hurry.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not in need of selling. I'm not in a hurry to sell. So, like I said, I had three offers.
Why do it at all? Like, once this guy goes to this level, I get competitive with these people. Like, this is a great opportunity for you to practice when you get somebody like this. Because every time he gives you something like that, I'd lean in on him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Well, wait a minute. Why did you do it at all then? If you don't have the time and you're in a hurry, why are you doing this at all? Where are you going? Jump right in. Hang on.
Gotcha.
I won't have a time selling it.
Okay. Let me ask. You know what? I'm a sales guy. I'll bring buyers because we do have buyers. We're Remax Fine Properties. We're right there in town.
Stop talking about Remax. Please.
I know.
It's driving me bananas. Stop talking about Remax. It's an insecurity that you have that you don't need to have. Okay? You are not Remax. You are Grant Van Dyke. Grant Van Dyke and the Van Dyke Group have a plan. Stop talking about Remax. Right? You're going further away from you when you do that each time. It's driving me bananas. It's like listening to someone scratch on a chalkboard because I've known you for so long. Why are you talking about them? And then you're throwing in these generic quips. We sell lots of them. No. Grant Van Dyke has a plan. Grant Van Dyke is valuable because he has a plan. Grant Van Dyke had a plan to sell that lady's house quickly so she could buy yours, but you didn't have me.
Peak and Pima. We work in the area. My last offer would be to you is we do have a discounted flat fee. If you're going to pay a buyer's agent, okay, that's part of it. We list homes for about 1.25%. And I know you're going a little bit more than that $400 to list it out there, but that would be a full service listing with virtual tours, aerials, photography, and then our push marketing. marketing where we get it on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and blast it out to the top 10 states that are buying in Arizona, California, Chicago, Illinois, all those spaces. So we could push that out there and create a market for it. If you'd be open to talking about that, I'd love to stop by.
All right. Well, I'm not at this time, but I'll keep that in mind if in the future, for some weird reason, the house doesn't sell.
It didn't sell, right? It didn't.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't. You did not sell it, right? So I like you. I like the way you went there, though, with him that time. You sounded far more clear in your own mind about push marketing and what it was, and you got him leaning in. Okay, like I cringed a little bit because it's a race to the bottom with the flat fee. Like I don't like it myself. I've worked with people, obviously to get it organized. I don't like it myself, but because it's a race to the bottom. And in this case, it's appropriate because he's essentially a glorified FSBO. So you're saying, look, dude, you didn't sell it. You didn't have a solution for the lady. You don't know push marketing beyond MLS. MLS is syndication. Yes, it's important and powerful, but there are so many other things, including a professionalized, pushed, open house, online marketing. And Grant, when you have the new Realty Cast website, your own additional website, we drive traffic there to solicit direct buyers. On and on you could drone with tremendous value for this guy, right? But this is a good guy to practice on. But he keeps saying, for some weird reason, it won't sell. You did not sell it. How long was he on, Grant? Remind him of that. Take him back to the pain. Hold on. You were on for X number of days. You got multiple offers, but yet you didn't sell it. Why? Well, because the guy couldn't sell it. See? That's what I'm telling you. When you go to sell it yourself, which is essentially what you're trying to do, you didn't have a solution for the buyer. You didn't, because you're not a realtor.
Yeah.
And you're not a good realtor.
Yeah.
So like you lean in on all that stuff, but you have to reconnect him to the truth here. Like hit him with the sledgehammer. All right, let's keep going.
Gotcha, Alex. And let me ask this: are you currently on the market right now, or are you going to put it on in the summer? Did I hear that?
I'm waiting about 2 more months. Probably.
Okay.
I'm going to wait till the end of April.
Why?
And that's even a maybe. Like I said, I have 4 other homes. I usually end up keeping them. I'm not in the need or in the position to where like I have to. A lot of people list their homes. They have to sell it. So I'm not. So if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it's no big deal.
Understood.
This guy's a knucklehead. Why are you doing it at all? See, this is where I don't want you wasting a lot of time. So what I would do, I'm going to cut this call off to go to the next one because I want to get all 3 of them in. I would just slam into this guy for practice and say, why are you doing this at all? Like, why did you do this at all? You keep saying you didn't want to sell, but why did you do it at all? What are you doing with this house? You got 4 houses, you sold 11. Okay, you're the smartest guy I've ever met in my life, right? It's the smart guy syndrome. But the truth is, it's a lot of deflection.
Yeah.
He's deflecting. He's making a lot of noise. There's a reason for selling and there's a reason for doing it. I think in this particular situation, you got to dive in, figure that out, and see if there's a possibility for you. You got him leaning here. You did a good job, right? But go right at him next time. Don't patronize a guy like this. Lean right in and make him see that he's speaking illogically. You have that beautiful Midwestern way about you, and it's working in this case, but ramp it up a little bit. You know what I mean? Go ramp up a little bit because you can't waste your time, and there's a problem here. You just haven't rooted it out. All right, let's go to the last one. Good job, though. Good job. Your tone is so...
We did end up getting an appointment there.
Yep. Oh, you want me to finish it then?
Yep. You can. I mean, I offered to set some open houses for it. He said, call me in April. Okay. So he moved it way up.
Okay. All right, good. So good job. Because eventually you had him leaning in. But now you got to go figure out with this guy, like, why are you putting up all this noise? Why don't you just let me do this? Like, so what are we talking about?
You made a great point earlier. I dropped all the Remax after this weekend's call, and that's what we're listening to. I dropped all the Remax shit because I started getting disappointed in myself for leaning on that.
Yeah, well, it's an insecurity, and so is defaulting quickly to the flat fee is an insecurity too. You're way better than that, but I get it. Your business has been primarily based off of the buy side, so you see what happens? You've created this false sense of self as weaker on this side, and it's not right. So I mean, again,
It's great listening to these things too, because
Yep.
I picked up a lot of stuff. I'm
Yep.
like, wow.
Yep, exactly. But it's what we do naturally. I think it's naturally. But let me backtrack. Some tremendous moments for you. Wonderful tone, wonderful pace, wonderful introduction to a lot of your programs. There's just some really good stuff in here. So that essence of who you are and that nice guy and that confidence and you close, can I stop by? So many good points. I'm just trying to make the adjustments in this short period of time that I hear that are glaring and easy for you to edit. Okay. So let's go to number 3 and see what we come up with here. But great job. And great job for being bold enough to record him and throw him in the hot seat. Here we go.
Hello?
Hello, this is Grant calling. Is this Robert?
Yes.
Robert, it's Grant and Dice. I'm with Remax in the Phoenix area.
Oh, that was great.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going through, we mailed out some information to homeowners that were on the market and, took their home off the market or expired. So I'm following up to see, A, if you received that information, B, if there's any interest to put your home back on the market and get it sold.
Well, not at this point right now. We're, after the snowstorm, we're in Denver.
All right. First of all, I just have to give you a compliment. That is the best gear change and tone change I've ever heard during one of these recorded calls. Boy, did you match his tone. When you heard this cat with a radio voice, you took yours down a notch to match his. Dude, that's a pro move. That was brilliant. Really, really, really brilliant move there. All right, let's keep going.
And after the snowstorm, we just ended up moving back down there. I don't know.
I don't blame you.
Engages people.
But
Okay.
keep in touch with me in about a month or so.
Oh, that's right around the corner.
Okay, we're March 16th. I'll give you a call April 16th after tax day.
Sounds like a good time.
Okay, I'll do that. Do you have any trips planned out to Arizona?
Yeah, we come out about 3 times a year. I'm not sure when the next time we're going to be coming out, but it'll probably be before it's summertime.
Gotcha, Robert. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, I will. And did you receive our information, by the way, on the selling process, our strategic plan, 7 points, and then our
I
marketing?
think we did. My wife is a real estate agent here in Denver, and I think
Okay.
she's taking care of most of this on the sale and stuff. And
Gotcha.
she's got all the paperwork on it, so I imagine she did get it.
Is this an expired grant?
Yes.
Super. Did she list it herself out here or did she refer it? Bang. You know what I mean? Just go right into what your brain begins to think naturally. Oh, really? Did she list it herself or did she refer it? Is she an agent in both places? All that logic that comes up. I think we're looking for that logical tennis match, right? Let's see where it goes.
Gotcha. Okay. I'll, if you want, I could send it out one more time. And if you do decide to sell here, happy to do that referral thing, kind of work together. We just want to sell homes and take care of customers.
Yeah, we're getting about 3 calls a day and about 3 letters a week.
Oh, boy.
Okay. All right. So you cut to it pretty quickly. You didn't have to just knee jerk like it. Say, oh, does she have a friend out here who's a realtor? Or did she list it herself? Or, dig in a little bit more to who she is because, dude, you do not have the decision maker.
Yeah.
Okay. He is not the decision maker.
Yep, I realize that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next time I would ask for her.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm calling back middle of April, the 16th, and we'll just touch base and stay in communication until you guys make it to town.
All right. Well, thanks for the call. I appreciate it.
All right, yeah. This one I think you just bailed out a little bit too quickly on the whole thing. I think there was more meat there. Is like, to understand the situation. You're not really clear that you have just either prospected somebody or not. I think that got left undone here, right? I mean, you latched on to that March 16th date as if it was like, yep, great, I'm going to send it to you. but you sort of glossed over pretty quickly that the cat just said, yeah, you're one of 3 guys a week. You follow me?
Yep. Yes, I do.
And you know why?
So ask more questions.
And you know why? The guy is so engaging with that radio voice. I think he lulled you in, right? Let's listen to the rest of it.
You bet. Have a great weekend and stay warm.
Yeah, we will. Thank you.
Bye, Robert.
Bye.
Yeah, you're done. So I think in this one, you just left a few things undone. And that is that, let's leave the call with this concept here today, everybody. There's a goal here, a very clear goal to create a prospect. Okay, that's the clear goal. A prospect is somebody that comes out of this pile of names that is well worth your time because you have a chance. You just left yourself with a follow-up call on the 16th from a guy that's not the decision maker, and you're sort of just trying to find it out. Great. Why don't you do this? Sounds like your wife is, definitely the one leading the charge here. And I don't know if she referred it to somebody out here. By the way, you should have maybe known that answer if you had the info up in front of you when you made these calls. Was she the listing agent? Looking at the sheet. Is this your wife that listed this, or is it a friend of hers? How'd she choose her? What was important to her? What went wrong? Was she upset with this person?
Yeah.
We don't know the pain here, Grant, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard enough to get these people on the phone. Don't lose the opportunity. This guy was not rushing you. He wasn't. In fact,
Correct.
none of them were. They all had 3 different tones about them, but there was not one that was rushing you.
Is that an Arizona thing?
Yes, I know. We're moving to Arizona, Grant. I'm telling you. Yeah, everybody rushes us. So but that's my point here that I'll conclude with today, is that don't forget what you're doing on the phone. You're taking enormous amounts of time to sit down, sit still, get the leads, pay for the leads, make the phone calls, get somebody on the phone. You should be clear at the end of the call what you just did. Did you create a prospect or not? I'm not saying that a lead plus isn't the end of the world, but why are we waiting now till April 15th? This guy's a knucklehead. I don't know. We come out there 3 times a year. You don't even know why he was selling it. Why are you selling it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think you need to, when you're making these calls, I think you need to take that seller qualifying questionnaire, put it in front of you, and act as if you're booking a listing presentation so you don't forget these questions. Yeah?
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. But otherwise, bravo. Go get me some more with the adjustments, and let's see where they go, okay?
You got it.
Awesome. All right, anybody have any final thoughts or questions for me today? Anything there's a burning case that you're working on, it's bugging you? What do you got for me today? And Laura in the hot seat.
I got something for you, Danny.
Well, go ahead. I heard 2 people at once. Egan, and then who else spoke after Chris?
It was Doug.
Okay, Doug, hang on. I'll take those 2 and we'll call it a day. Egan, go.
Yeah, expired calls here. Just wanted to see next best course of action. Had the expired, I hit about 6 weeks ago. That was expired from last fall.
Yeah.
Had a nice, friendly conversation with her. She said, they went 70 days and they thought their last agent made a lot of mistakes. She was friends with family, et cetera, et cetera. She'd said we've selected another agent. I said, would you be open to a second opinion? And she answered yes, resoundingly, almost cutting me off. And then said, okay, well, I'm going to be busy out of town, et cetera, until for another few weeks, and follow up with me then. So and let me preface this, prior to making that first phone call, I'd sent her the intro packet not once, but twice over a week period. We screwed up and couldn't remember whether we'd sent it first time, so we ended up sending it twice. Yeah. But during the first call, she said to me, I've been getting a lot of mailers, and I recall seeing yours come across, but I'm sorry, I think I pitched it. And I said, no worries.
Cool.
So I sent her a new copy of the mailing. I followed up with her about as she requested, and then the next time I followed up with her, I caught her. She was not as friendly as the first time. She said, okay, I'm setting up for a dinner party, and I'm not really interested, and almost hung up on me. And I said, okay, no worries, caught you at a bad time. Well, I followed up with her again last night, letting a couple of weeks lapse between the two calls, and found her again very polite, very diplomatic, and very friendly. And she said, I know your name. I remember talking to you. She said, right now I'm at the hospital with my mom, and it's not really a good time. She said, but we've had 5 people over from the last few days, and I have a stack of mail at the house. But if we decide to pursue this, I will follow up with you. So I'm just kind of looking for a tip on the next best course of action. Is it
I'd send her something
time
else
for the
again.
handwritten note? Or?
Yeah, for sure. Sorry that I caught you at a couple bad times here, including with your mother. I hope she's doing better. I also took the liberty to send you, a fresh, updated list of properties that have gone pending and sold since you've been there. And I have a couple of things that I'd like to tell you about them. So I'll call you, again to just tell you about what's here. So really genuinely going and getting something that's pertinent to her, and calling her, sending it, and then following up. I think the more that you can send content and then follow up about it, the less of a pain in the neck you are globally just to talk to her. Right?
Got it.
An updated list. And again, I think what's most pertinent, if, hey, I know you're thinking about doing this maybe again. I think one of the most important things is, that I send you these solds and pendings so you can see immediately what's happening, maybe a couple of actives, and you can mark them up with pen and say, hey, check this one out. Look at these pictures. Look at this thing, but a piece of content that's relevant.
Chris, do you have a newsletter that you have too?
Yes.
I would include that in the package.
Good point.
I've been sending that a lot out with our packages that are resends, because it's just another added layer of content that puts you in the position of authority.
Yeah, for sure. Just shows them.
Hey, Danny.
Yeah, it's a great idea. Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, I'm really a little bit conflicted here, and this might be a little bit off topic for what we were just talking about. So if you want to keep rolling with the role play, we can address it another time. But this goes back to before that part. We were talking about pricing and not just letting the seller kind of have this pie in the sky, estimate, because then you're going to get kind of blamed. Well, but you have to remember, like in the fourth quarter of 2017 and the first 2 quarters of 2018, you might remember that. I know you remember, but I lost a dozen or so listings. It was a really crazy hot market. There was no inventory. Prices skyrocketing, and I told you that I had lost a couple because I was like, I just literally sat across the table and goes, I don't see it as $1 million.
Yeah,
I have my evidence. I see it as 925. So what should I have done? Should I have let them listed at $1 million, or should I have stuck to my guns?
Yeah, it's a great question, Doug. I didn't forget you, so stay there. It's a great question, Paul. It is a very, very difficult thing for all of us, even as we become experts, because I like what you said, Laura. Send them the market trends. And we've been updating our newsletter to actually show the trends quarter to quarter so that we show the percentage increase or decrease in those factors so that they're discussable. I think the only mistake you made there is the same one Lee used to make way back when, is that we care so much and we're so convinced of what something really is that we bluntly state an absolute statement. Okay? Yeah. So it's not a complete obnoxious absolute statement, but it's about 90% of the way there. See, that's this sort of real estate pricing it right. Bingo. I don't see it over $1 million. That's an absolute statement about how you feel at about a 90% level. So when they hear that, if that is not in alignment with what they're thinking and other people have told them, and you've given them no evidence as to why, you've painted yourself into a difficult spot. Say, okay, well, what do you, and that's why we always ask. I go crazy if Laura gives me a package and I go out there and there's no number as to what they expect to achieve. Because look, I'm a Sherpa. I'm a guide. As good as I think I am at this, Paul, when I sit down with that detailed information, I'm trying to explain to them, this is what we are up against as a team. When you join us, this is what we're up against. We're going to war. This isn't easy. Real things happen. So yes, it's white hot. So maybe it's there. I just don't want to leave you hanging. If we cheat above the math, I don't want you beating me up in 30 days. I'm happy to try it for you, but it's not going to be because my plan has failed. It's going to be because we cheated above the math, hoping that this rising tide carries us there. That's what I would say you should have said. Yeah?
Okay. Okay. All that being said, I brought my evidence. We're having this conversation. I obviously was not as eloquent as that in my response, but had I been, at the end of the day, if the gal still wants me to list her property for $1 million, when I know that it's really 900, 925, do I just take the listing at $1 million?
Yes, if you do what I just said, if you give her the caveat that your math doesn't support it, but you're going to give it a go because it matters to her. But you don't want to. I actually tell my clients now, beware of the law of corroboration. I'm going to say yes to you now, but I'm going to be coming back to discuss price on a regular basis based on communication phase number 5. If the market doesn't come to show this, co-brokes, if I can't get open house people, if I can't get sign calls, internet calls, we have a pricing problem. Because when I go to make a market, the market will tell me. If I get a dribbling of people, great. If I get a dribbling that leads to an offer, superb. Superb. You just have to continue to explain what's going to happen because you believe that she's cheated over the math. Got it?
I got it. And, I think also those 3 quarters were really unique because we only had anywhere between 0.5 to 0.7 months inventory, so literally 2 to 3 weeks worth of inventory.
Yes.
And prices were going up so dramatically each quarter, that it was a difficult market. I didn't adjust quickly enough, but no, that's some good language. I appreciate it.
Yeah, well, it's just digging in deeper to your plan, having faith that this plan is a real thing. Don't do it on muscle, right? See, if you referred back to the plan, you would have been painted into that situation. Pricing is a mechanism of the plan. We start, we buff it up to the best of our ability, we stage it to the best of our ability, we memorialize it, then we take it to the marketplace, and the marketplace communicates with us. Stage 5, we will know quickly whether you and I made a pricing it right mistake or not. All right, I got to go to Doug. Doug, hit it. What was the question? And then we're done after that.
Hey, I just quickly, I wanted to just make sure I'm prepared. I got an open house tomorrow.
Yeah.
Can you just go through a quick checklist of things that I have to make sure I have with me?
100%. Just imagine you walking along the table where you set everything up. Number 1, your sign-in sheet, mandatory. Number 2, the best feature sheet package with your face on it for that individual property. Thanks for coming. Sellers ask that everybody sign in. When you're done doing that, the feature sheet for the property is next to it. Next, I would personally have a list of other properties for sale and sold in magazine format next to it with your name and brand all over it. Next, I would have buyer and seller course or buyer and seller infographic. Okay, I would make sure that that's the full. So imagining you walking along a beam of light and things are going your way. They come in, they don't put a realtor's name down. They take it. Hey, you folks looking for yourselves? Yes, we are. Okay, I don't know if this will work because it's a ranch. Oh, good news. I brought some others. Plus, I put something in that'll tell you what the money's buying. Fabulous. Looks like you're not working with anybody. No, we're not. Why don't you take my buyer course too? Yeah, but we have a house to sell. Take my buyer and my seller course. You just hit a walk-off grand slam, right? Because you are fully prepared to help them with any and every situation that might come up. You might get cut off at the very first one. They come in, they grab something, they have a realtor. I'd still be willing to give away the rest of the stuff, but you get my point, is that you might only get as far as the first 2. Then you get the lunatic who comes in, I'm just a neighbor, I'm not signing in. Good, we love neighbors. Take a walk through, have a nice day, right? Which house do you live in, right? So, but I mean, that's it. Don't make it more or less than that.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Awesome. Go get them. All right, everybody, listen, we're OT, so I've got to go. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You all rock. Thank you, Grant. Thank you, Laura, for being my partner here today and going over our excitement about telemarketing. Go out and try this stuff. Send me some phone calls. Give me some anecdotes, and we can work on them every Friday. See you next week. Thanks.
Thanks, Danny.
Thanks,
You bet.
everybody.
Thanks, Danny, and happy birthday.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.